Um, so today, this video, I wanted to talk more about like my experience in university as someone who's visually impaired. I can't believe because I started uni in 2019. Wow, it was a really long time. Even if to think like COVID, it was around COVID as well because I started in like September 2019 and then March 2020 is when COVID happened. So I basically had like my uni during COVID, which is fun. But yeah, in this video, I wanted to talk about like me being visually impaired and like how university was for me. I kind of want to use this kind of just like advice, I guess, video, even though I don't know if I'm going to put a lot of advice in it. I just wanted to talk about my experience being visually impaired in school, university specifically. For those who don't know, I went to the University of Greenwich, and I studied primary education. To start it off, I just wanted to talk about the support I got before I entered uni. So as like a transition from secondary to uni, I got in touch with like different organizations that helped me. We had meetings about like what I might need, what might help me, how they can support me as I transition, and how I navigate the school year. So we had a lot of meetings, and then someone was able to come to my house and kind of like set up things. There was also like offers for like mobility training, and other trainings that I would need. During the meetings and during the training, they helped me with kind of just setting up like I had like a big monitor. They trained me on stuff like Dragon, Zoom, Text, and they also gave me different equipment, just like Ruby, which is kind of like this device that enlarges, for example, like medicine bottles, and it takes the pictures and you can enlarge it and read it for yourself. With that, in that conversation, just they told me about like the pros and cons, like, do you want this, do you not want this? And yeah, and then I was able to be like, yeah, I would like this, or this is not really helpful, or this is really helpful for me. In terms of that, they were really helpful and supportive. It made me realize there is quite a few tech out there, and I think that's one thing that I'm like, I want to kind of research more, and that is something that I want to research more about and look into. What is the tech for VI people, like to navigate just the world in terms of just maybe like cooking, cleaning, getting ready for the day, doing their work. Yeah, that's one thing that's like kind of tickled my interest since, and something that like I like to kind of listen to podcasts on, and I've started to watch some YouTubers who do talk about that stuff and do like reviews on different equipment and different apps and different techniques. They were really supportive at this stage. They just kind of gave me advice. They told me this might be helpful, this might not be helpful. I do actually want to do a video on what equipment I actually did use. I think that will be really helpful for those who are looking into kind of what resources they can actually get access to. For example, I would say Zoom Text. I didn't really explain it. Zoom Text is just kind of an application, the computer, and it enlarges stuff for me. So like enlarges the whole screen, and I can press a button to keep increasing the size of the screen and decrease the size of the screen depending on what I'm doing, what I'm reading. It also, there's a function that reads certain text. So if I have a Word document, I can have it read that for me. Yeah, it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. I also have Dragon, which was great. I don't want to talk about it too much here because I'm going to talk about it. I want to talk about it in that video. But Dragon also was such a great thing, especially for assignments, because it just supported me, helped me, especially like with me not straining my eyes so much. Those applications really helped me. With seminars and tutorials and lectures, I think it's similar to what I experienced during secondary school, but a little bit different, because I guess there's so many lecturers and they don't always know my need, or maybe like if one person knows my need, they might not tell someone else, or if they do, that person might forget. And I think that might have happened. I would also say that I usually always got the small text anyways, like that whenever they put off past resources, they would always kind of had everyone small text. So with that was kind of a challenge. Sometimes I would just ask for like a spare copy, which I felt so awkward about, which I know I shouldn't, and I kind of didn't. Like as I went further into the year, I was like, I just don't need an extra copy. But I was so like, oh, like, is this person going to think I don't like them? But it's just because I needed an extra copy because I can't see small text. And but I guess having a laptop and being able to access the slides and PowerPoint really helped me, because I even if they were showing it on the big screen, I could just look at it on my laptop like it did. The fact that even the text was small on like the screens for the PowerPoint, I could access it online. And then I just ended up, like a few minutes before the lecture or seminar, I would just increase the size of the Word document for myself and just saved it, which sometimes if I was late, it would be a bit time consuming and I might be a bit behind, but most of the time it manageable, I guess. I feel like I shouldn't say that, because I think perhaps it would have been better. I don't know why they would always have small text on the PowerPoint. Like, the Word document wouldn't even have a lot of words on it, but it would still be the smallest print, and I'm like, what's the point of this? But yeah, I guess maybe because they can see, but still, it's just like, even sometimes the people in my lectures would say, no, the text is too small. So it's like, if it's small for them, why is it so small? But yeah, I think that was one of the things that was just an issue during seminars and lectures. The fact that, like, what they had on the board, it was usually small. So if I wanted to have it on my laptop, I would have to make sure it's big. The text, the font size, everything, the pictures were big. So I was able to, like, see it, read it, and know what was being spoken about. What also helped was the fact that we were online most of the time because of COVID and the pandemic and lockdown. Because we were online, we had to have access to the resources. So I guess I was able to prep it, but I guess it was also kind of time consuming, or sometimes the text would be really, really small, and then I had to keep on, like, sometimes transferring it so I can enlarge it on, like, a Word document, or just using Zoom text a lot, which I guess that's the point, but that was always kind of time consuming. I also made sure I sat in the front, which sometimes was awkward because, like, my friends would want to sit in the back, and I'm like, no, let's sit in the front, and they're like, no, and I'm like, yeah. Or sometimes my laptop would just be heavy. Like, I don't have a small Mac, because it's like, what's the point of the small laptop if everything needs to be big anyways? I'm surprised I don't have back problems, because that laptop was big, and the fact that I was carrying that around from one place to another, from one place to another, from one place to another. If we're talking about sociability and friends, well, I did have friends in uni and people I was able to talk to. Sometimes they would forget that I'm visually impaired, and I remember this girl, I don't think she meant any harm, but what happened is I, like, said, oh, can we sit in the front because I can't see? She was like, oh, you need to get your eyes checked then. And I was like, I don't think she meant it. She didn't mean it maliciously, but I was, like, taken aback. I was like, oh, I think, I don't know if this is before I told her I was visually impaired or after I told her I was visually impaired, but I think it might have been before. But another thing is that I think they forgot a lot that I was visually impaired and I needed, like, certain adjustments, like sitting closer or bigger text. With something like I hadn't, I think that was better in secondary school, I guess, because they saw you every day and you're always, like, around each other, like 20 foot, like, you're always around each other. That's just one thing that was different. I guess I felt more like I had to kind of remind them a lot, and I think, like, fair enough, like, everyone's busy. I think sometimes I just felt like, oh, like, again, yeah. But I would say that, like, the whole experience of me being visually impaired in uni, it made me, like, it gave me a lot more confidence, and it gave me a lot more of a voice to, like, advocate for myself, which is something I did in secondary school and sixth form, but it's something that I really needed to do in uni, because, to be fair, I think if normal people would say, like, if you don't speak out, nothing gets done for you, and that's even, like, small things, not even, like, big things. Small things don't get done for you. No one's going to be there, like, no one is there to hold your hand, to be fair. But if you don't speak out, advocate for yourself, you're just flying on the radar. Now I'm going to move on to the sociability and the events and socially wise. I guess it's just the small things. It's just kind of reminding someone that you're visually impaired. There was this one event, and it was just kind of, experience what, like, a virtual VI experience. So, like, experience what someone who's blind or visually impaired goes through. And every time that happened, it happened 2 years, or I think it happened 3 years, but I don't know when the date for the third year happened. But the 2 times it happened, I had placement or I had a lecture, and I was so annoyed. And the thing is, because we have we had one like near like Cutty Sark, and then we had one near Averley. Because of that distance, I wasn't able to always go to the events, and most of the events were on that other the other main Greenwich site. I'm talking about the one where like they film all the movies, by the way. That place. And the fact that I missed those events, I was so upset. And it's like I feel like I always kept on missing those events because I was on that site. I was able to go to a few events and they were fun, but I guess it was just more about like the little things. Like sometimes I'd trip over steps, or sometimes like I wouldn't kind of see people, or like I wouldn't notice them from afar. Yeah, that kind of thing. But or like sometimes I'd get night blindness. I had to remind someone that, oh, I can't really read this, or I can't really see this. I think Greenwich is quite supportive in that way. Like they have a lot of communities. They can make a lot of adaptations for you. They really kind of care about your well-being. But I guess that's my experience. I don't know what everyone else is. That's one thing I kind of noticed about Greenwich. They're quite supportive and they're quite there for you. Yeah. Oh, during lockdown, Bridgerton was filmed there, and I didn't go. I don't know why I didn't go. Okay, let's talk about the boring one, the assignments. Like I said, with the whole like having technology and apps built in on my laptop to help me support me in assignments, it was quite seamless, especially because RNIB, they have this book collection online. If you're registered VI, you can just access those books. Most of the books that I needed for my assignments were all on the site, which was really good and really nice, and it's just easy for me to navigate, use and apply into my assignments and stuff. It was just tiring, honestly, because the amount of hours and time I'd spend on a screen, especially like during lockdown, you're gonna go from one screen to another. It kind of made me kind of force myself to kind of remove myself from screens and like do something else. So I got into like art. I started reading a bit more. I had more walks outside. I started to develop my understanding around sight loss. I know like I've always had sight loss, but I didn't always know the different parts of it. I didn't understand what equipment there is, what organizations. I didn't know many of the equipment. I didn't even know there were podcasts on tech, visually impaired people talking about tech for visually impaired people. So it was kind of fun to find those things out, research it, understand more about those areas. Which is not, it's inescapable. Everyone was online, everyone had assignments, especially I know during uni, most of the time you would probably be in front of a screen writing. Some of my lecturers definitely didn't know I had visual impairment. I know some did. I think some did and some forgot. I think it was just about me reminding them, and I did. I reminded them when I needed. But I know sometimes you ask for something and you don't get it, and you're just like, okay, all right, because it's done now, isn't it? The next one to talk about, boys and relationships. So what was that like? Oh,